So our text this morning is based on a long reading from John chapter 9, verses 1 to 41, and the 23rd Psalm. Now the 23rd Psalm is a psalm of trust, and our tradition of loving this psalm is deeply rooted in hearing the promise of God's love expressed in the words of this psalm. When we hear the powerful words, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," we instinctively relax and we believe in God's care. That is trust. And that has been written on our hearts, and the trust of God's love that we keep forgetting about in the good times. Praise be to God for moving King David to set the words of Psalm 23 in the liturgy of the synagogue tradition for our comfort today. Right now, we seem to be in the shadows of the valley as we work with the world, and that itself is amazing, working with the world to stop the spread of a virus that can be fatal for many. This is one of our valleys of shadow today. Now, the valley of shadow that was in the mind of King David as he composed this psalm is thought to be the road between Jericho and Jerusalem. And this valley is also believed to be the site of the parable of the Good Samaritan. I had an opportunity to walk this 4-kilometer stretch of road a few years ago. The valley is a dry riverbed between very steep cliffs of crumbling rock and slippery sand. It is the preferred path because of the shade. The higher points are incredibly hot, as well as dangerous because footing is treacherous and the path narrows to almost nothing in spots. But the valley also has its dangers. Bandits and animals live in caves in the valley, and they attack without warning. And the shade in the valley becomes dark very quickly. Bandits prefer the dark for their work. So our question today is about that darkness. Do we try to navigate it on our own with our tiny flashlight in the deep valley with dangers lurking at every corner? Or do we trust in the light of God to lead us? Trusting that light, what do we do? Here's where we look to the blind man in the long reading from John. The blind man did nothing. He didn't even ask for sight. Jesus came to him with the love of God and gave him sight. He did nothing. But from that moment, his recognition of Jesus as the Messiah became stronger and stronger. And I find that so exciting. He trusted, then he came to believe. The man was released from darkness as we are released from darkness. We live our life following Jesus, and the mud of humanity, the very essence from which we are made, including human failures, is placed on our eyes, and we are given sight to recognize the brokenness of humankind. Through the waters of baptism, we are washed clean. God's love replaces our self-obsession, our selfish need to hold on to possessions, our misuse of the earth, and our acts of injustice. We are forgiven again and again in God's loving grace as we are sent to be Christ's light for the world. The blind man only trusted and washed in the pool of Siloam. Siloam means sent. Then he came to believe. Where do we feel we are being sent to bring the light of Christ? Peace be with you as you trust in the saving love of God. Amen.